That was a tough one. That was a tough one as the Miami Dolphins lose 21-14 and drop the division to the Buffalo Bills at Hard Rock Stadium. It's 11:30 at night, so excuse me if this video isn't very polished, or at least not as polished as usual, as I gotta wake up at 7 in the morning and take the kid to a doctor's appointment. So, yeah, sleep is gonna be of the essence soon. But anyways, let's talk about what's fresh on my mind, and that is that last drive, the final possession. The Dolphins had a chance there. Josh Allen went for the quarterback sneak, and look, I think he got it. It looked like he got it to me, but they didn't give it to him. Dolphins got 1:53 left. Tyreek Hill dropping balls all game. I mean, that is what it is. Tua is not excused of any blame either, as it's 2nd down and 10, and you got like 1:30 to go, 50, 40 yards to go for a touchdown, and you press, and there was no reason to throw that pass. If it was 4th and 10, I would understand, but it is what it is. After the season, I will have a deep dive on our quarterback, Tua Tagovailoa, where I make a final judgment on if I feel like he's our guy for the future. And obviously what I think doesn't matter in the end. It's what the Chris Greer thinks, and Mike McDaniel thinks, and Stephen Ross thinks. But we could all ponder, right? But, still another game, at least one more game to go to, make a final determination on Tua. But let's talk about the game as a whole, because really the scoreboard makes it look closer than it was. And a lot of people ain't going to want to hear that, but you go play. If Miami wins that game, you play that game again, Buffalo might kick the shit out of you. Because between the numbers, Buffalo really dominated this football game. The Dolphins got 2 really nice touchdown drives. The one that ends with the Devon Achane run, and then the short pass to Tyreek Hill. Absolute great drives. Other than that, the Dolphins did a whole lot of shooting themselves in the foot offensively. Penalties, illegal man downfield, holding, Tyreek Hill dropping perfect passes. Cedric Wilson gets 0 separation, but he's not as tall and strong as Devontae Parker was, so he doesn't really go up and get the ball. So just a whole lot of nothing in the second half. Lots of 3-and-outs, putting a tired defense back on the field over and over and over. Just an absolute recipe for disaster. So as far as defense goes, the defense was really good. They were impressive. I mean, Van Ginkel goes out, and we're left with Melvin Ingram, who I did a ton of hating on throughout the week because he just got pancaked all last week. He played really well. Christian Wilkins, man, he deserves to beat the Bills because every time we play Buffalo, Christian Wilkins shows up. But once again, no dice, no cigar for the Miami Dolphins. And is that for the best? I don't know, because if Miami wins that game, I think a lot of our fan base does a big victory lap, and I wouldn't be so quick to do that because if we had to play this game again, I don't know. And that's just me being honest with you. The Bills had a ton of injuries defensively. Douglas out, their linebacker was out. I mean, the Dolphins should have exposed some of those injuries, and a lot of people are pissed off saying Mike McDaniel got away from the run game. Listen, all right, every time they ran the ball in the second half, they lost a yard, they lost 2 yards, they lost 3 yards, and then they're passing on 2nd and 13 when they're ready for the pass. I would have liked them to see them take more shots early in the downs, 1st down, 2nd down, go for some big plays. And the times they did do that, it worked. And, they really just got away from it. And, in the first half, the little fake pitch to the one side and then spin around, pitch it to the other side, worked perfectly. Obviously, Buffalo went to the locker room and said, we ain't falling for that shit again. And they didn't fall for it again. And, the running game just wasn't there. So, however much you really want to blame Mike McDaniel for this loss, I give him like maybe 10% of the blame. And You don't have to agree with me. That's just the way I feel about it. I don't feel like Mike McDaniel called a bad game, but I feel like he just really, by the time we started pushing the issue, it was too late. And of course, the Bills got that punt return touchdown, and they were in the red zone, 6-7 times, only came away with 2 scoring drives. I mean, this defense played out of their minds with a lot of injuries, and a lot of injuries that are probably going to leak into the playoffs too, right? So, it's going to be what it's going to be. Next week is going to be a big task. We're going into Kansas City in the cold, and we'll talk about that game Wednesday, but if they win that game, is all forgiven? I don't know. The Dolphins really should have won this division, and they should have won it tonight, but they should have won it before tonight too. So, to me, it's going to be a season that's remembered as a lot was left on the field, especially in the injury department, on the offensive line, on the defense. Just a lot left to be desired. Tyreek Hill was limping after week 5. Waddle's been hurt. I mean, and this isn't to make an excuse if you're a Bills fan out there celebrating your victory. Buffalo deserved to win this game. They played a better game between the numbers, but I'm just talking strictly from a Dolphins standpoint, how we're going to look at the season. And, I don't know where it's going to go for Buffalo. They get a home playoff game against Pittsburgh. I think that should be one Buffalo should win. I do think Buffalo plays down to their competition. I think they did that again tonight, and they almost let one slip away. More so than Miami really took the game. I think in the first half, it was like Miami was taking the game. There was a passion there. They were playing with heart, with a passion, and it felt like they had it. And then as soon as that punt return happened to tie the game, it was like you could just feel it. They were like, shit, this thing's toast. And offense goes back out there, 1 play, 2 play, 3 play, punt the ball. The 4th and 1, I really thought they should have went for it when they were in their own territory, because you're only going to get so many possessions, and this game is just really reminiscent of the Buffalo game last year in Buffalo in the snow, when it was like Miami takes the lead in the third quarter, you get the ball back, so you're playing against a team that has a high-powered quarterback like Josh Allen and an offense that could score fast. But it feels like you got him off his game a little bit. If you could go up 2 possessions, you could really make him press. But we don't. And then Buffalo takes the lead, and that forces us to push the issue. And, it doesn't work out in our favor. So it is what it is. The Miami Dolphins, they let it slip away. So no playoff games at Hard Rock Stadium this year. Hard Cock Stadium, actually. But, I know a lot of people are complaining about other fan bases taking over, or that it's not a loud stadium. Listen, all right, here's what I'll say about that. It's not in Miami, but it's right outside of Miami, Florida. All right, look, I mean, that's like the number 1 vacation destination in the country. You're gonna get away fans every single fucking week. All right, especially when they charge the amount of tickets that they charge for these season ticket holders. They gotta make some of this money back, right? So I mean, especially a game like this where it's like $500 to sit behind the end zone. Yeah, you're gonna sell those fucking tickets, right? And no matter who buys them. So I really can't stand the bitching. Look, people go down to South Florida, they vacation. South Florida is a chaotic and beautiful place, and so if you're down there, just be glad people like to go down there. I mean, it is what it is. The Dolphins have a huge fan base, a nationwide fan base, and we take over other stadiums all the time. I went to the game in Washington. It was like 60% Dolphin fans. So I mean, that's just a quick little rant about the stadium. Means nothing in the grand scheme of the division. So next week, the Dolphins will be taking on the Kansas City Chiefs. I really can't stomach to talk too much more about this game, because it's just, it's a tough one. And I'm sure it's if you're a Dolphins fan out there, it's a tough one for you too. It's one of those losses that's like, damn. It's like that Titans game where you really should have had it, but you let it slip. So we'll see what happens. I will be back Wednesday for possibly the last preview of the season. Hopefully not. Hopefully we get at least one more, but, that's really not up to us, right? We're just bystanders. Bystanders. Excuse me. But, yeah. All right, that's it. I'll see you Wednesday.